Recording in progress.
Sorry, I'm just gonna turn my iPad this way, okay? So take the picture and grab your supplies. And so I'm gonna show you first on the iPad what we'll be doing first. So let's get started. So initially what we'll be doing is we'll kind of show the general movement. Sorry, let me just quickly grab a pen here. So what we will do first on our paper is we will draw lines like sorry, I don't think my pen is working right now. Just 1 second. So we will draw a line from the head to where her legs start. And then we kind of will indicate the movement of her arms. And then we will also kind of where I guess her weight is. So it's kind of on her hips. We want to show that. So we will start with very simple lines. So we will start like this, just a general line for movement. And then we will also indicate where her legs is, just like that. We will start with that. And then after that, we will start drawing circles, kind of indicating where her hips are, her torso. And then after that, we will continue to do more like ovals here to indicate the legs. And then we will, after that, we will start with the detail. So let's get started. So grab your, I'm just gonna stop the broadcast now. So we will start with those lines. So if you want, you can wait for me to go or be a few steps ahead. So you want to recreate the same kind of angle here. So we have an initial line right here. And then her legs come all the way here. And then the arm touches the leg here. And you can use your pencil to measure from your reference picture the distance and all that. So the idea is that it is symmetrical. So remember to check the proportions. So from her skirt to the head is about 3/4 from her leg. So from her skirt to the head, this has to be just a little bit over here. And from her hips to the neck is half of her leg. So from here to here would be around the same. So the neck would start over here. And her shoulders, or sorry, from one hand to the other one. Just a little bit short of her leg, so this needs to be about this long. So what I'm doing is just looking at my reference picture, selecting 2 points and see how they compare. Are they the same size, or maybe one is just half the size? The width of her shoulder is about 1/3 of this leg. And if this is a bit confusing, don't worry about it. Just try to draw what you see. And everything we're drawing right now will be erased after. So draw with very little pressure. And now we will start with circles. So you want to first kind of get the movement here and making sure the proportions are somewhat close. And once you're happy with the general layout of the lines of her movement, we're gonna start drawing circles. So small circle for her head. This is kind of a square for her torso. You can just imagine her hips here. They're covered by this skirt, which we will draw, but kind of to get a rough idea. So anytime you want to do like a portrait, like the full body, not just the face, this is a nice tip that you can, or trick that you can do. Just do lines first for the position of the movement, and then circles or ovals just to indicate like the main muscles. Actually, her arm is quite straight like this. And I just noticed that this leg is quite straight, so I need to fix this. It's more like this way. So I grab my pen, I place it over the arm at the same angle, and then I just grab it exactly like that and place it over my drawing, just to make sure I have the same angles. So I'll give you 1 more minute to finish this. Don't worry too much about details, just try to make sure the proportions are kind of accurate. So take a step back, look at the entire picture. Maybe is your hand too short? Is your leg not straight enough? And let's do the skirt so it's less confusing here. So it starts somewhat over here. And it goes up like this all the way to her arm. And it covers quite a bit of the right leg. And from here, it kind of goes straight and down. And the front of the skirt. So I'm just gonna erase the part of the leg that the skirt is covering. And so once you're happy with your outline, we're gonna grab our eraser and thoroughly erase the lines that we do not need. And gently go over the lines that we do need. You don't want to erase them completely because you're going to need them. So very gently. So I can still see my outline. And we're gonna start doing a lot more detail or go over our drawing with more precise lines, I should say. Even though I already have lines, I still look at the picture a lot. So notice the legs they're not just straight lines. So the calf here has a little curve and then it's flat. And for our shins, they are straight. I think this leg has to be just a tiny bit more straight. So really try to pay attention to the details or the exact shape of the lines. So as I was saying before, um, the leg is just not a straight line. So if you notice here, yes, it is straight, but right here it stops and it's a small curve like this. That's our calf. And then it goes straight. And at the front, it goes straight. Then it changes direction and it's still straight, but now coming towards the front. And make sure that even though we're not seeing this connection here, it kind of makes sense because you don't want your leg to stop over here and then when it connects, it will be off. So you can draw the line and then erase it. The skirt at the front, don't worry too much about it. We will do that with charcoal or with shading after. Now let's do our other leg. And now the arms. Now that we have the legs, if you're happy with the legs, you can use them as reference. So how long is the arm compared to the one leg? So you can use that as reference pictures. This arm is covered a little bit by the skirt, so we don't see too much detail. And that's okay. We'll just do the skirt detail after. So you notice that this arm on the left side is kind of straight, but on the right side, so it starts on the shoulder and it's getting smaller, like the width is getting smaller, and then it's straight for a bit, and then there's a little hill over here, a curved line over here, and then straight again. So this is this part, the forearm. Our elbow should be here at the back. So try to really look at the picture and try to see where those hills and valleys are on the arm. And actually my arm needs to be a little bit more straight. It's too curved right there. Mm. We'll go back to the hand and do a bit more detail. Right now it's just a rough shape of the fingers here. Don't worry too much about the hand right now. We'll go back after. So right now I'm just doing the outline, but with very precise lines. I know I'm going a little bit fast, but you can take your time. I just think it's easier for you if you see the outline after or once it's completed. So you can take your time doing each line, each limb, or each section. And make sure both hands or both arms are the same size, same as both legs should be around the same size. We'll do the hands later. I'm gonna finish the head and I'll give you some time to catch up. So one side of the neck is quite straight, the other one is more curved and shorter. her jaw is straight. Her face is kind of flat, or the circle is flat where her head is. And then the rest of the head is quite curved, so circle. And for now, let's just do indications of where her features are. So her lips, her nose, so that's our outline. I'll give you 1 minute to check, to finish and check your proportions. So really look at each line Is it curved? Is it straight? And if you are almost done with your outline, now we're gonna do some indications of where the shadows are. So for example, this arm right here. You see this shadow and then along the bottom. So we're just gonna draw the outline of that shadow so we remember later that that section needs to be darker. And then the bottom of the bottom of the hand. This is quite darker. The neck over here is dark. The jaw touches the ear. It's kind of drawing the shape of shadow. The shape of that we're gonna color after. So a small triangle over here. The torso. So this upper part has a big shadow. The arm over here. And the left side of this upper arm. The back of the hand, or sorry, under the fingers. This section over here. The left side of the leg. And this whole leg is quite dark. So if you are just using pencil, you're just going to start shading that area like this. If you're using charcoal, you're gonna use your like another piece of paper, scrap paper, to grab your charcoal dust from. I'm gonna use this whole drawing just to grab some charcoal. So again, if you're using pencil, you can get started and color the areas that we just drew. Look at the picture, see what's shadow, what looks darker. If you're using charcoal, you color another piece of paper and you grab it with a brush or with I like the brush better, but you can also use paper towel and start on the darker spots and then go along where you see it's darker. So again, I grab charcoal and I start on the darker place I see and then blend it. If you happen to put too much, you can use your eraser as a pencil. So just go over it and erase the areas that you need to be lighter. And if you're using pencil, you're just coloring with a light pressure all over the areas that you see they're dark. But if you see one area is darker, you can put more layers. Her chin, under the chin, is a bit dark. And if you see that, for example, the top, you see dark, medium, and light, very white, basically pure white. So you're gonna try to do that. So we're gonna put more layers on the very dark areas and a light layer on where it's medium. And we're gonna grab our eraser and go over our areas that are almost pure white. You see these little lines over there? You can draw them with our eraser. The more contrast you have, the better it'll look. If you're using charcoal, you can go ahead and not only cover the shadows, but almost the entire leg. Of course, the left side needs to be darker. And then over the rest of the leg, you will just continue to blend it, because what you want to do, especially if your sheet is white, after you're gonna grab your eraser and go over the areas that are the lightest. so you can really see the difference or the highlights, and draw with a eraser. The area under the skirt and this area, which is very dark, I'm just gonna color it with my charcoal directly, at least the leg, and maybe some of the lines under the skirt. And I just blend after. If you need to blend one specific area a bit more, you can grab your paper towel and go over it. Don't ever blend just with your fingers because the oils on your skin will leave a stain on your drawing. And I want to redo my leg again over here. If you're using pencil, you just put a little bit more pressure on your pencil, but also you can grab a different number, like a B, maybe 2 or 3 B, or even higher Bs. And maybe areas that are very dark and sharp, you can use your charcoal directly. So really pay close attention to the hand. Where are the shadows of the hand? Some fingers are just at the back, so they're completely dark. And if you're using pencil, you can just color the areas that are darker. If you're using charcoal, I'm just gonna grab a little bit and kind of cover the entire face like this. Don't be afraid to go over areas that are really white. We're just gonna grab our eraser and draw with it. So we're just gonna erase around the face so we have a clear background. And I'm gonna erase the areas that are very light on the face. So the cheekbones are very light, like completely white. Her forehead, her nose, her neck here. And so you just keep going back and forth. Wherever you see that needs to be darker, you grab more charcoal and then go over with your eraser on the areas that are almost pure white. Drawing as a, like you use your eraser um as a pencil. And if you have a white charcoal pencil, we're gonna use it as well, but you need to make sure you erase wherever you're gonna draw with white. You need to get rid of the graphite that is under, otherwise it won't look good. It won't stick to the paper. You don't really need to add too much detail to the face. I think the center of the drawing is the, the dress or the skirt. So if you want to add lots of detail into something, maybe do it on the skirt. So again, back and forth. So I grab my eraser again and go over the areas that need to be lighter. So notice that if I see the arm needs to be lighter, I don't go over the entire arm. I look at my picture and I only go over the area, the tiny small area that is lighter. So the neck, I don't go over the entire neck because you don't want to erase the entire thing. You want it to have both contrast, so lights and darks. I'm gonna use my pen just to go over a little bit of the smaller detail here. The clavicle. Don't forget to do these two bones or lines indicating the bones. It really brings everything together for the head at least. And I'm doing also highlights on her hair. Now I'm gonna do the highlights on her arms. So wherever I see it's white, pure white, I go over with my eraser. The leg here, so her leg has a lot of highlights. And so again, using our eraser as a pencil. I'm leaving the skirt for last because that's going to be the fun part. And even if you're using your pencil, you can always grab a piece of paper and blend it. But be careful, you don't want to overblend. You want to make sure you still have the contrast between the darks and lighter areas. So now let's do this skirt. Very, very light area. That's our highlight. So I'm gonna start over here. And I make this into a flat end and kind of draw lines going upwards. And in the areas that is not, so like here, it is light, but not as white as this. So I still use my eraser, but I apply less pressure on it here. And here, it looks a bit fuzzy. So I'm just same thing, less pressure, but still using my eraser. I'm doing kind of a zigzag line going down along the skirt. So it looks a little bit textured. Or circles down the skirt. You see how it looks textured? So I'll do the same here at the back. Not too much pressure. You can use your charcoal or your pencil to finish the details. And the last step is if you have a white charcoal like this, we're gonna use this. If you don't, just make sure you use your eraser with lots of pressure. If you are using the charcoal, you need to erase the areas where you are gonna apply the charcoal on. Otherwise, it won't stick. I'm gonna go back with my charcoal over the skirt a little bit, just at the bottom here to make it look a bit more fuzzy. And then with my eraser, creating those highlights again. And so I will give you 1 more minute to finish your shadows and erase the areas where you want to do the white charcoal, and then we'll do it together. So if you're using charcoal for my drawings, I do one of two things. Option number one, I go with my eraser along the drawing to make sure it's nice and clean around it, like this. Or if it's kind of messy and it's hard to erase, I just grab my brush and I keep like blending the charcoal around the white of the paper, or sorry, around the drawing. So along the drawing, it doesn't look super clear or sharp white. And I think it looks nice and it's easier rather than erasing around, just because sometimes charcoal doesn't completely erase. So you have those two options. Go with your brush around like this or erase. It's up to you. Okay, so let's grab our white and we'll do the highlights and then we'll be done. So I want to do this line over here. Again, if you don't have this charcoal, white charcoal, you don't need it. Just grab your eraser and really, really erase the areas that we're doing. So I'm not coloring the entire area, of course. I'm just doing a few highlights wherever I see it's pure white. And you can grab your brush and blend not everything, but maybe the skirt, the bottom of the skirt over here. Leave this intact. Wherever you see that is not the lightest point on the drawing, you can just blend that white area over there. That is our drawing, so let's sign. And date, at least the year.